Holy I talked with Daniel about being progressive and eating bugs. And you know what he said? Alia, cricket or switch? And I started laughing so much because that's the joke that I told him, and he remembered it. It's just so funny. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but Cricket Auschwitz is such a great show. It's such a great story. I don't remember how we started there.
What?
I already sort of a little bit forgot what the premise for Cricket Auschwitz is.
We were talking about being progressive and how
everyone
should sell the idea of being bad.
Yeah. So one of the things that I was thinking was, wait. What were we talking about? God damn it! I had something! God damn it! Cricket Auschwitz. That was the story. Okay, Cricket Auschwitz is the story. The story is, how can you know when you are progressive? And the idea of you being a first progressive person, what do I have to marry outside my own race? You know, is that a way of doing it? Is that a way for me to show that I'm progressive? Yeah, okay, the story is because nowadays we are so out of touch with what is important, or maybe they think that it is important. They want to give up meat, right? Because that's basically the problem.
Yeah, because it's also about climate change. They were also talking about climate change. The reason why we have cattle,
cattle poop and all that kind of methane gas and blah blah blah. But what were we talking about before though?
Daggerty weed.
Baby, I don't know. Oh, because of protein.
The Jew crickets were right. That escalated shit.
No, we have to build it up. We have to build up the story. The main point of contention is people are trying to change protein. People are literally, in one way it's almost like the Matrix, when you have that scene where the first time when he's out of the into the real world, they started eating goo, but they said it doesn't really matter because what's important is the nutritional values inside it. Like, I know that's very scientific and all, but you're eating goo paste. You also want to enjoy a little bit of your last meal. So in some ways, if you relate that back to Matrix being a very Christian punya cerita, and vegans being exactly wanting to be like them, isn't that also just a sign that vegans it's another religion, right? It is almost like another religion, right? Betul lah. It's almost like another religion. With any kind of religions, we all know what happens in the end. They would have some sort of a war. And for the vegans, what they like to call progressives, and this is the crazy thing, just like how the Nazis basically tricked themselves into thinking that it's their birthright to live there and then you can kill 6 million people. It's the same thing as the vegans thinking in their minds they're the god protectors of this mother nature, that it's okay for them to make the call that they literally burn Jew crickets or put them literally in an oven, right? Like, if you have not heard about this part, obviously people wanting to have crickets as a substitute for protein, but what people don't know about the crickets, they don't eat them live. Obviously we still need to cook them. It's such a convenience that the way you actually grow crickets, they must think that crickets are not sentient beings or something. They're just insects. Who cares about fucking insects? Because they're ugly and they're, you're being very cherry picky with your story. Like, oh, this protein is okay. Oh, we cannot eat a cat or a dog. We can eat a cow and a duck. So anyway, the main point of the story is, now the vegans want to be just like the Christians, like for example the Christian Nazis in Germany, who basically put a whole bunch of Jews inside a gas canister, killed them. I don't even know why. Like, who came up with that plan? Germans are very efficient, right? Aber Herr Doctor, how do you kill so many Jews at one time? Just put them in an oven. That's the fastest way. Isn't that? Okay, no, sorry. I'm sorry, that's horrible. That's completely horrible. But as horrible as that story sounds, of putting millions of people inside a gas canister and killing them and letting them rot there, the vegans, on the other hand, do it on a much smaller scale. They literally build a whole city inside, what's that thing on Rick and Morty? The Tiniverse, a miniverse, where they are God and they grew the little crickets, and the crickets grow up, they wake up the first time at the hospital crying, and then they go to school, they mow the lawn. And then they go every day, they go be like, oh, hi Jim, how's your wife? It's Cricket Joe. It's Cricket Joe. He's the kind of person which the Cricket Democratic Party, supports because he's the average Cricket Joe. You know what I mean? That's the kind of that's the kind of life that they have. They grow up to be super old. They're complaining about whether they want to put the retirement age from 67 to 70 in cricket years.
When the girls can't go out at night past 11 p.m. Those kind of bullshit, parenting stuff. And then all of a sudden,
no, hold on. Before we go there, even the crickets, they started coming up with these religions, saying that there's gonna be enough time someday. That's the kind of lifestyle that they build up on.
Muslim crickets.
And then they said there's gonna be a second coming where the cricket Christ comes down, and that's exactly what happened to them. For efficiency, this is what happens when you have a German vegan person. Just kidding. They take the box, they breed this crickets, close the box, switch on the oven, just like how they did it to the Jews, and boom, there you have it. Cricket Auschwitz. I mean, if you want to think about it as a religion, Nazis were Christians. You have to think about that. That's what they thought. Christianity ruled the world. The exact same religion that the vegans are creating is even worse, right? You're breeding them for your own consumption. They're literally the pods in Matrix. You literally created the Matrix for them. They're doing work just so that you get energy. It's a cricket matrix. Cricket tricks. Cricket Matrix, and it's actually happening. That's the real thing about the Matrix, right? The Matrix is a real thing.
Anything else?
Because because we are now being slaves to the AI. No, we don't care about doing all this hard labor. We care.
I watched Terminator yesterday. Speaking of AI.
That's another story altogether, but it's roughly around the same thing, isn't it? You have the Matrix, and in the end, you're slave to the robots, whereby you literally need them to survive. We used to be human beings who can live on our own with just a knife or just our bare fists in the jungle, to a point where we do not know how to live anymore. The sad reality is they are all just being bred by these AI machines so that they can power their servers. So it becomes a reverse. I don't know what they found out. They found out that human beings are a very efficient energy fuel source, maybe. I mean, that's what people are doing these days. People are going into material science, simulating things where, just look at the data and then we just choose the best one. The AI is doing that. And in the future, the AI will also think, we've been given this task to solve energy crisis of the world. The number one that tops that priority list is to use humans as batteries. That's the idea. That's the idea that you pitch to the human beings, and the human beings will be like, obviously we won't even be in that situation because the AI is smart enough to know that if they told that to us, that will kill them. Yeah, right. So it's I don't know how we got to this topic.
Daggerty Weed.
We were talking about crickets, and then you talked about Matrix being a
Cricket Auschwitz.
film.
Right. But then I've expanded that joke a little bit further with the Cricket Matrix, right? Cricket trick. Wheat Bix. That's also one of the things that we thought. We're progressives. We eat crickets. We eat crickets for breakfast, and then people start using the idea. Like, you have boxes of people will start making cereals out of it, and then we'll name it something like Wheat Cricks or Cricks Bix or something like that. And then people will argue about, you're psychotic if you put milk first before putting in the Crick Bix. And then they'll start making snack.
Like crinkles. You got sour cream and onion, salt and pepper.
Oh my god. You would also have energy bars. You had crick bars. Crick cars? No. What's a famous Nature Valley Crick bars? 100% protein. No, not 100% protein.
Sustainable. It can't be 100%.
No. The tagline would be a bite of the universe to start your day. A bite of the cricket universe. They would start having big, it'll be a big industry. It will grow into a large mini, and then you were competing with meat industry, and then this goes circling back, right? So right, it will be a big industry, a cricket industry as big as meat industry, and then you would have, in that time when you're progressive, saying that we don't want crickets to die. You get my point? Or protesting against this meat corporation industry and stuff. So the question is, what does progressive mean, really? Every year that you think that you're progressive for what values? That's the, because you keep on changing the goalpost every single time.
You do.
You change
They
it here,
do
you change it
everything
there.
about
Or
it,
sekejap
yeah.
18-year-old vote, and then sekejap 16-year-old vote, and then nanti once you've given the people the taste, a little bit of that taste, you cannot really take it back. You know, you will cause an uproar. You will cause a little bit of a. So you have to be. That means you have to be really careful about making such large national policies. But